Chris Moulton, Executive Director of the National Women's Hall of Fame. I'm joined this morning by Deborah Jones, Board Member and Co-Chair of Induction Weekend 2011. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal. Prophetic words from Seneca Falls in 1848. Words that continue to echo in the hearts and minds of women everywhere. Words that set women on the path to freedom, equality, and achievement. Today, as the world commemorates the 100th anniversary of International Women's Day, we also celebrate the revolution that began right here in Seneca Falls, the phenomenal achievements of great American women, and the history still to be made by women and girls. It's a bright day, literally and figuratively, in Seneca Falls and at the National Women's Hall of Fame, as this morning we announce the upcoming induction of 11 great American women, and we honor the impact those women have collectively made on our nation. We invite the public to join us in Seneca Falls on September 30th and October 1st as they are formally inducted. From an early suffragist to a civil rights pioneer, from a college president to trailblazers in health and science, each of these women has demonstrated fortitude, perseverance, intelligence, and hope. Their experiences provide both an example for each of us to emulate and a challenge for each of us to embrace. What began in Seneca Falls comes full circle this October, when this phenomenal group of inductees convenes in the birthplace of women's rights. This year's inductees to the National Women's Hall of Fame are St. Catherine Drexel, a missionary who dedicated her life and fortune to aid Native Americans and African Americans. St. Catherine Drexel is only the second recognized American-born saint. In 1891, she founded the Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament, a religious order that today remains devoted to the education and care of Native Americans and African Americans. During her lifetime, St. Catherine and her order founded more than 60 missions and schools, including Xavier University of Louisiana. St. Catherine was beatified in 1988 and canonized in 2000. Dorothy Harrison Eustace. A philanthropist, Dorothy Harrison Eustace combined her love of animals and her passion for helping others to co-found the nation's first dog guide school, the Seeing Eye. In 1921, Miss Eustace began her career in Switzerland, breeding German Shepherds for civic duty. She was later contacted by Maurice Frank, a blind American man seeking a guide dog. After bringing Mr. Frank to Switzerland and providing him with a trained dog, Miss Eustace returned to the United States, and together in 1929 they established the Seeing Eye to help blind people achieve greater independence, dignity, and self-confidence through the use of Seeing Eye dogs. To date, the Seeing Eye has bred and trained 15,000 dogs to assist nearly 8,000 men and women. Dr. Loretta Ford. An internationally renowned nursing leader, Dr. Loretta Ford has devoted her career to practice, education, research, consultation, and the delivery of health services. Dr. Ford is best known for co-founding the nurse practitioner model through her studies of the nurse's expanded scope of practice in public health nursing. In 1972, Dr. Ford became the founding dean of the University of Rochester School of Nursing, where she implemented the unification model. Dr. Ford is the author of more than 100 publications and has served as a consultant nationwide. Abby Kelly Foster. A major figure in the national anti-slavery and women's rights movements, Abby Kelly Foster is remembered for her roles as a lecturer, fundraiser, recruiter, organizer, and activist. In 1850, Ms. Foster helped develop plans for the National Women's Rights Convention in Massachusetts. And later, in 1868, she was among the organizers of the founding convention of the New England Women's Suffrage Association. During her lifetime, Abby Kelly Foster worked extensively with the American Anti-Slavery Society, where she held several different positions within the organization. She worked tirelessly for the ratification of the 14th and 15th Amendments and helped lay the groundwork for the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Helen Murray Free. A pioneering chemist, Helen Murray Free conducted research that revolutionized diagnostic testing in the laboratory and at home. Ms. Free is the co-developer of Clinistics, the first dip and read diagnostic test strip for monitoring glucose levels in urine. Along with her husband, Alfred Free, she also developed additional strips for testing levels of key indicators for other diseases. Today, dip and read strips make testing for diabetes, pregnancy, and medical conditions available in underdeveloped regions of the United States and in foreign countries. Helen Murray Free is a recipient of numerous awards, including the National Medal of Technology and Innovation. Billie Holiday. Considered by many to be one of the greatest jazz vocalists of all time, Billie Holiday forever changed the genre of jazz and pop with her unique style. Ms. Holiday began her career as a singer in Harlem nightclubs in 1931 without formal musical training. She went on to record and tour with a number of famous musicians like Benny Goodman and Lester Young, and officially began recording under her own name in 1936. Billie Holiday, known for her deeply moving and personal vocals, remains a popular musical legend more than 50 years after her death. Coretta Scott King. One of the most celebrated champions of human and civil rights, Coretta Scott King, in partnership with her husband, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., ignited democracy movements worldwide. For over 40 years, Mrs. King traveled extensively as a messenger of peace, justice, and social action. Notably, in 1974, she formed and co-chaired the National Committee for Full Employment, formed the Coalition of Conscience, and co-convened the Soviet American Women's Summit. In 1969, she became the founding president, chair, and chief executive officer of the King Center, the first institution built in memory of an African American leader. As a lifelong advocate for nonviolence and coalition building, Mrs. King's legacy will continue to serve as an example for decades to come. Lilly Ledbetter. For over a decade, Lilly Ledbetter has fought to achieve pay equity. Upon retiring from her position as a manager with the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, Ms. Ledbetter discovered that she had been paid considerably less than her male colleagues. She filed a formal complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission and later initiated a lawsuit against Goodyear, alleging pay discrimination. Although a jury initially awarded her compensation, the Supreme Court ruled that Ms. Ledbetter could not receive any money because she had filed her complaint more than 180 days after receiving her first discriminatory paycheck. Since then, she has continuously lobbied for equal pay for men and women. Her efforts proved successful when President Obama signed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act into law in 2009. Senator Barbara Mikulski, the first female Democratic United States Senator elected in her own right, Barbara Mikulski has been a political trailblazer for more than 30 years. During her tenure as a senator, she has developed and supported legislation promoting equal health care for American women, Medicare reform, better care for veterans, greater student access to quality education, increased funding for scientific research, and much more. Senator Mikulski currently serves as the Dean of the Women in the Senate and is a senior member of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, a senior member of the Appropriations Committee, and a member of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. In 2011, Senator Barbara Mikulski officially became the longest-serving female senator in United States history. Dr. Donna Shalala. A groundbreaking educator and politician, Dr. Donna Shalala has more than 25 years of experience as an accomplished scholar, teacher, and administrator. Dr. Shalala is recognized as the longest-serving United States Health and Human Services and is the current president of the University of Miami. From 1980 to 1987, Dr. Shalala served as the president of Hunter College, and prior to that, she was the chancellor of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Dr. Shalala is a recipient of more than 3 dozen honorary degrees and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2008. Catherine Switzer. As the first woman to officially enter the Boston Marathon in 1967, Catherine Switzer broke the gender barrier and paved the way for women in running. Still recognized as a leader in the running world, Ms. Switzer has completed over 37 marathons and has dedicated her career to creating opportunities and equal sports status for women. In 1977, she founded the Avon International Running Circuit, and in 1984, she was a leader in making the Women's Marathon an official event in the Olympic Games. Catherine Switzer is an Emmy Award-winning television commentator who has done broadcast work for ABC, CBS, NBC, and ESPN. Now I'd like to give special thanks to our founding sponsor, ITT Corporation, for their steadfast and generous support of the Hall and its programming. ITT is a company that values diversity, provides ample opportunities for women, and is an exemplary global citizen. We are privileged to count them as a partner in furthering our mission of showcasing great women, inspiring all. It is now my